Welcome back to the Nerdrotic channel. My name is Gary Beekler, and I am live in San Francisco, California, and I come to you from Nerdrotic.com and from 1428elm.com, the overlord of that site, Susan Leighton. What is up, Susan?
Hey, Gary. Hey, everybody in the chat. Nice to see you guys. Let's get ready to talk about Project Blue Book.
Yes, for our new subscribers, one of the things we do here in the channel is we recap television live. So you in the chat are our co-host, and it's a lot of fun. We get it's kind of like a TV party. We hang out, and that's how we started the channel. It's turned into, things evolve, but we're going to continue doing this because I love watching genre television, and we watch Project Blue Book Season 1, Episode 1, The Fuller Dogfight. And this is a Robert Zemeckis joint. And, it plays a little bit like Manifest, but better, much better. I did cover Manifest. It wasn't the worst show in the world, but it was very networky. So this is on History Channel, so I don't know how many people actually have seen it. It dropped on Sling early. It was on Sling yesterday. So I don't know, but it aired today, and Sling has been getting stuff early for some reason. If you have Sling TV, Night Flyers, it got a couple days early. So Dakota Stanton, thank you for the $10 super chat. I liked it. I know what X-Files shows are like, but this is a mystery box show. If it's a mystery box show, I'm out. Me too. Hashtag me too, Dakota Stanton. No GD mystery box shows. Now, if it plays it like an X-Files, even if it straight up copies X-Files, I'm okay with that. I have no problem with that. So it had a decent start. It was a good episode. I liked it. It was corny in some places, and it took a lot of liberties. We're saying, I don't think Allen Hynek went through this many adventures, but I like that. I don't want it to be a straight historical thing. I like it to be, a fun genre show. So we start out over North Dakota, where my family is from, South Dakota, North Dakota. And there's a squadron of I'm sorry, I'm not an Air Force. I'm not military guy. So if I get terminology wrong, I'm sorry. But there's a couple planes. They're doing maneuvers or whatever. And one guy wants to buzz his old football stadium, and he does that, and he encounters a light in the sky, and it starts playing with them a little bit. He hears the call letters from a radio station in San Diego, my hometown, but I've never heard that radio station, KKJH or whatever, and they're playing a song called How High the Moon, and he hears that, and all of a sudden, like it's like a Foo Fighter. It's a small glowing ball that he sees, and he's trying to do these maneuvers, and apparently his plane starts doing impossible maneuvers that are controlled by the UFO. The plane almost crashes, and we don't see what happens afterwards, and we end up at Wright-Patterson, and this thing kind of gets going right away. And we see a version, or we see Allen Hynek, right? Did it start out with Hynek now? I can't remember. Yeah, it starts out with the Majestic 12, basically. Yes. They don't call him that. And we have Neal Mcdonough, the great Neal Mcdonough, who plays Dum Dum Dugan in Captain America, and a great actor, by the way. I love that he's in this. And he's, of course, a member of the Majestic 12, and he's, a bunch of, military white guys in a room smoking cigarettes and cigars, planning our lives. And they are talking about Blue Book, and we meet Quinn, and we find out pretty early on that Blue Book, and this is a true story, Blue Book was created to debunk everything. There was a UFO fervor since 1947. There was the Roswell crash. There was coining the term flying saucers was actually a guy in Washington who saw a few flying saucers over there. So it had been happening in the late 40s, early 50s. There was it was kind of like mass hysteria. I would say there was a lot of UFO sightings. Coincidentally, it was right around the time where we went with Oppenheimer. We had the first atomic bomb, and the theory goes in the UFO community that basically it's kind of like first contact in Star Trek when when a society or a planet gets warp technology, that initiates first contact with the Federation. So the theory is, if a planet explodes an atomic bomb or has this kind of knowledge, it initiates at least not first contact, but other civilizations might notice. So that's what that's the going theme in the UFO community. That's something that I do a show called the Exozone. It's once in a while, and I do it with my co-host Doomcock, and we talk about UFOs and Bigfoot and all that stuff. So I love this subject, as you can see from my shirt. And here's my pen that I got from Giorgio from Ancient Aliens. Yes. Thank you. Some Baking 101 said cool shirt. Thank you very much. And yes, we love the Exozone. More on that in a little bit. So they decide they need to bring in Quinn needs a partner for whatever reason. So they want to bring in a scientist from Ohio State who had helped the military in the past. And his name is J. Allen Hynek. He actually existed. He is the godfather of ufology. He started out in real life as a skeptic, and he was going to be part of Project Blue Book, and he was going to debunk everything. But over the course of time, he became a true believer, and really, coined a lot of the phrases. He also made up a lot of the excuses to debunk people. And as time has gone on, even the cases that were debunked are in question now, because it was true that the Air Force wanted to just close cases and get people on their way. Now, a vast majority of these cases were just weather balloons and stuff like that, but some weren't, right, Susan?
Right. Approximately, out of the thousands of cases that they investigated, 700 they could not explain. And apparently tonight's episode, the Fuller dogfight based on the Gorman dogfight, was one of those episodes, was one of those cases.
Yes. And it's interesting that they started with this one, and they mentioned Roswell in the episode, and they basically said, yeah, it was just a weather balloon on that one. And yeah, it's interesting. So they talked to Alan J. Hynek, and at first he's a little he doesn't want to do it. It's not his field, he says. But Quinn persuades him. But he has 3 conditions, and one of them is getting paid a lot of money. And he needed some money for a project he was doing for Ohio. It was Ohio State he was working for. Yes. Ohio
Let me
State,
mention
Buckeye.
something about that project, Gary.
Sure.
J. Allen Hynek was working on the satellite tracker. Now, today we utilize his theories and his basic idea behind it. But what we do today is based on Hynek's work. So I just wanted to throw that out.
Yeah, and that's why they reached out to him in the first place. He had done some work for them before. So listen, this isn't going to be, based completely on the files from Project Blue Book. As Susan said, they're going to change the name, and they're going to do stuff like show up at Hangar 18, like the first one of the first scenes that are at Hangar 18. I'm like, that's awesome. The team is together, and Quinn and Hynek go to question Fuller. There is a little side story with Hynek's wife going out shopping and meeting a mysterious blonde woman, and she basically helps her buy a dress, and it looks like she's hitting on her. Well, she is hitting on her, but it's something a little more than that, and we'll see what happens with that. They go and question Fuller, and he is a hot mess. He's a little crazy. He's got this song stuck in his head, like the worst, earworm in the world, and it's "How High the Moon." And he tells them that's how the UFO communicated with them. The UFO was flying the plane. Of course, they think he's insane, and they're just there to debunk the story. But Hynek goes over in the hangar and sees the plane, and sees that they're seeing if it was irradiated, and he notices some damage on the wing. He gets into the cockpit and tries to think about the maneuvers, and like I said, they were impossible. There's no way that plane could have done what Fuller claimed it could do. But Hynek is already kind of like, what's going on here? And he even talks to one of the kids who's checking out the radiation on the plane, and he throws some numbers at him, and the kid has no idea what he's talking about. So he mentions to Quinn that, hey, Quinn's ready to just shut the case down. He wants to move on because he's under orders to do that. But I'm not too sure about Quinn, Susan. At first, it seems like he's just, hey, UFOs don't exist. We're not supposed to do this. But it sounds like he's a bit of a believer himself as time goes on. Hynek mentions the damage to the wing, and Quinn says, I think I know what it is. And they go up and retrace the flight path. So they actually go flying, Hynek and Quinn. They see a weather balloon. They go to this exact same spot, and the weather balloon is there, and they make it look like the UFO. But Quinn tries to mimic some of the maneuvers that Fuller did, and they end up crashing the plane. So I'm not too sure that really happened. I could be wrong, but but you needed it for drama. And after the plane crash, of course, both of them survived. Hynek was telling the guy to turn back because they were going into a storm, and he went in anyway, which was kind of weird. And as after the plane crash, Hynek gets up and he sees a mysterious man with a hat. So, probably a man in black, I would think about that. And before I go on, I have to get to a couple of super chats. We had Dakota Stanton. Thank you very much. We have what's that? England DG, $5. You are being visited by the Poo Patrol. And no, this isn't a San Francisco joke. AT says hi. Who's AT? Hello back, AT.
Anti-trucker.
Anti-trucker, the Poo Patrol. How could I have not put two and two together? Tell Anti-trucker I said hello back. We got to get him on the show. Hashtag me poo. Hashtag me poo. John Archaki. Sorry. Anti-Trekker said to give you a super chats tonight. Why? Thanks. Thank you so much, John. Thanks for the $2. And England DG confirmed Anti-Trekker said to give his super chats. Why? He wants you to buy him a new shirt. Okay. I'll buy him a new shirt. I'll send him some comic books too. Tell him I'll send him some comic books. Maybe I'll join up on antitrekker.com, or maybe he just wanted plugs. Hashtag BPoo. Okay, so we get back to this. They retrace the steps. They crash the plane. Hynek thinks Quinn is crazy. Quinn just wants to close the case, but his actions don't really match his words. I think he was actually retracing the flight plan because he was curious as well. What do you think?
I think he is. I think Quinn is set up. He knows he's got to toe the line. He knows he has to basically do what Harding wants him to do. But I think in looking at his office and how immersed he was in the study of it, I think he's curious. I don't think he's a believer yet, but I think by nature he's curious, and he wants to find out if these things are real, just as badly as Hynek does.
Yes. Yeah. And I hope they get into that more. Like just the weight of, if we're going to play this in the show, the weight of, I know there's a lot of people out there who just don't believe, and that's fine. No judgment. And that's what I try to tell people with the Exozone. When we do that show, if you don't believe in that stuff, maybe don't listen. It's okay. I hate for you not to listen, but we never present anything as fact. We don't get into any weird conspiracies. We just, do the basic stuff. We do UFOs, Bigfoot, unfortunately, Loch Ness Monster is something I just don't believe anymore. It's very sad, but I don't.
Sorry to interrupt. Strawberry Hellcat, thanks for the $10. Do you think we'll see a resurgence in the popularity of UFO genre television, like the craze in the 70s? How about a good remake of the Phoenix series?
Oh, that'd be awesome. Strawberry Hellcat, maybe. It depends if this is a hit. That was crazy. I was a young kid when that was going on in the 70s, but I love stuff that creeped me out, and it absolutely creeped me out. Project UFO, that's the show we're talking about, and it was a good series. Well, maybe not, but when I was like 7, it was pretty creepy. So, so thank you very much for the $10 super chat. I think Quinn is a believer in a hard in of hard fact. Yeah, I think he is too. So okay, and we have, so they debunked that. I'm looking at my notes here. So after the plane crash, we got this wife side story, which I thought it was interesting. I thought they were just going to play it straight in the show, and they're not going to play it straight. So she's attracted to this girl. This girl is playing like she's attracted to her, but we find out later that the girl is spying on her, which I thought was the case. And it makes you wonder why they brought Hynek in. If they just want a puppet, why would they bring Hynek in? But they kind of answer that question at the end. Hynek goes and talks to Fuller because he finds out he's in the hospital with him after the plane crash, and he gets a little more information, especially about the song. He's sitting at a record player listening to the song, and Hynek asks him, "What's up with that?" And he tells him that the Fuller says, "Listen, that the call letters of that radio station were from my hometown." And remember, they were flying in North Dakota, and his hometown is San Diego, and they played a particular song, and that's how it communicated to me. That's how it communicated to me. That was the only way it knew how, and it was controlling the plane, or controlling the plane, which was pretty interesting. So Hynek knows something's up immediately. Now they leave the hospital and they find out that Quinn had already filled out the report and closed it because the general paid him a visit at the hospital saying, "What the hell are you doing? You crashed a plane. This isn't what I hired you to do. I can find somebody else. I just need you to close these cases." So he closed the case without Hynek even looking at it. And then he had to fly back to DC. Hynek, in the meantime, drives home. He gets a car and drives home, and he gets followed by this man in black who rams his car. And then Hynek follows him into an old amusement park where a film got turned on. This is where it got a little corny for me.
Yeah.
This is something that would have worked in the 90s for X-Files, but I mean, I don't know about right now. So Hynek follows this guy who tried to ram him. I don't know how many people would try to follow him, but I guess he's a scientist, so maybe they're curious. He follows him into the amusement park, and he sees that a projector had been turned on, and it's showing these weird, Illuminati symbols, and it has children saying, random numbers. I couldn't remember if it was prime numbers or not, but yeah, and it didn't matter. But he saw this. He never saw the guy. He wrote some of these things down. He finally makes it back home. And
it's also important to interject about this. When you see that film and you see the symbols and you hear the kids doing those random sequence of numbers, pay very close attention, because you will see shots of the Washington Monument.
Yep.
And the Capitol building.
Yeah, and it was Illuminati symbolism. Pretty basic conspiracy stuff right there. And yeah, he wrote it down. And what he did when he got home, he said hi to his wife and everything. And then he called the San Diego radio station to see if they were playing that song at the same time that Fuller said he heard it. And they indeed were. So he calls Quinn and says, "Hey, there's something up with this." And then he thinks better of it because he hears a sound outside, and he's all, "It's nothing. Just close the case. Never mind." And, of course, Quinn knows more than that. And then we get a quick scene with the two generals, Valentine and Harding. And they say Fuller's, good for the project. And that's why the general paid a visit. He wanted to go see Fuller, and he's going to be part of some project. And we see him get taken away. Some doctor gives him a shot, and whatever they're taking him away for, we don't know. But that's how it started. We also see the girl who was with his wife outside of the house writing some stuff down. So she was the one who made the noise. And that's pretty much where the episode ends. So it was pretty good. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It had some corniness in it. We'll see how it's paid. The reason I said it was like Manifest, because it was paced like Manifest. It's very much, this must be like a Robert Zemeckis signature on his TV shows. Like, it's really, sometimes it moves a little too fast, doesn't let stuff breathe. But I thought it was all right. So we're going to get to the chat here. Now, this is Nerdrotic Premieres. So what is a Nerdrotic Premieres? We check out an episode of TV and see if it's worth your time and money. If you already have History Channel, I'd say fine, check it out. Definitely with Aidan Gillen, from Game of Thrones. And what's the other guy? Mike Malarkey from Vampire Diaries. So, Susan, why don't you go to the chat for a second? I have to go do something. I'll be here, though.
Okay. Nerdrotic channel. So, Geo asks, will it be a little like a dramatized Ancient Aliens or more like the X-Files? I think it's going to be the X-Files, a huge leaning toward that. There may be some Ancient Aliens speculation in it, but my feeling is it's going to lean toward the X-Files, obviously the mythology arc and not the monsters of the week. What to me was really enjoyable about this show is no messages and entertainment. So it was nice to actually see a well-crafted story that wasn't hitting me over the head about something. So that was always a plus. In terms of, let's see here. Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much for the super chat that we got for $9.90. Actually, let me see here. Here we go. Sorry about that, everybody. Okay, JPRPH1, $9.99. Thank you so much. I really like this episode and think it has a lot of potential. I watched a little Project UFO on YouTube. It was good. This could be really good in my humble opinion. What was up with the amusement park? Well, that's a good question. Somebody in the chat said that it was in a documentary and it was supposedly a serial killer haunt, but then that turned out to be bogus. My feeling is that with the amusement park, it's interesting because a friend of mine did an independent movie in Ohio, and there was an abandoned amusement park that they were at. Now, I don't know if that's the location that they used, but yeah, that's interesting that they chose that. And like Gary said, it was a little, I don't want to say far-fetched, but it was that, you'd end up there and there suddenly would be a projector going. So that kind of had me, pause about that a little bit. But that's a good question. The amusement park, does it factor into anything?
It did. There was chairs there that looked like dentist chairs or something in the back. So there's something going on there.
Well, and there was a mention of a program.
Yes.
At the end. And, when we were watching it, somebody said, well, I think Fuller's getting a lobotomy. And I said, no, I think he's going into some kind of program. And that's where I was thinking like the Montauk Project and a lot of other different things. So yeah, this story can go in many different directions and they're setting it up rather well.
I've always said, if you're a writer and you're just looking for a story and you're experiencing writer's block, listen to, 4 or 5 episodes of Coast to Coast AM, and you will get so many ideas. So all they have to do is make a series based on Coast to Coast AM Art Bell interviews about Montauk or Majestic 12. There's thousands of hours of that stuff. And it's filled with, whether you believe the stuff or not, it's really entertaining stuff. It's really entertaining stuff. Now, the amusement park, I hope it plays into it, because it's a bit ridiculous to ram somebody's car and then run away. What if you scared the guy and he ran away? Just pass a note, dude. Pass a note. Say, I am Mr. X. Meet me at X location. The eagle flies at midnight, or, the children eat their strudel in their lederhosens or something like that. Yeah. So, yes. You know what? It's bad when our standards are lowered so much to where, wow, there wasn't any Time's Up, Me Too, PC bullshit in the yet in the period piece that takes place in the 1950s and, or late 40s and early 50s, which we're starting to even see in our period dramas, where they're putting in stuff that just wasn't historical to satisfy some, test or checklist or whatever. So it's just nice to see an episode of television. That's exactly how I felt about Aquaman. Like, Aquaman was like a good movie because it was just a normal good movie. Same with Venom, actually, too. Venom wasn't as good as Aquaman, but it was just nice not to be preached at. But I'm a little over preached from Doctor Who. I used to watch Twin Peaks. I eventually gave up on it. Angel Feliciano. Oh, well, I like the original Twin Peaks. I did not like the remake, or not the remake, the new one at all.
It's interesting that should be brought up because Harley Payton, one of the executive producers on Project Blue Book, actually was a producer on the original Twin Peaks and a writer for it.
Well, hopefully they can mix some of that in. It would really work in a show like this. I don't watch a lot of stuff on history other than Ancient Aliens. So I don't watch a lot of their. What else did they do? They did SEAL Team 6 or something, right?
Well, they do Vikings now.
And Viking. Didn't they do some other show? Well, Mrs. Nerdrotic was watching. Vikings is ending. I don't know how Viking Bitch feels about that. I haven't even talked to her about that. Viking Bitch is one of our mods.
Well, anyway, hail.
Oh, whoa. What? Hail, Doomcock.
What could it be?
Up?
How's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
Pretty good. How are y'all doing? Hello, Susan. How you doing?
Hey, great, Doomcock. Great to see you.
Great to see you guys.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I should probably tell people you're here on Twitter. Welcome, sir. Thank you for coming to talk about the show and also to probably talk about the Exozone, right?
Exozone, exactly.
I think this ties into it.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, it does. I watched this show. And, it's I got two different assessments of it. Okay.
Yep.
Now, as a television show in and of itself, it kind of sucks because it just, it's kind of like recycled X-Files, diluted about 10 times and then, put through the de-imaginative fiber. It's a machine that they have, I guess, at the History Channel to try and keep it from being a little too imaginative. So on that, I think that Aidan Gillen is fabulous as Littlefinger. I absolutely found him riveting, and in this, it's like, what the hell's going on? He's got no charisma, and it's just flat. And on the other hand, as a speaking from the perspective of the Exozone and going over the Blue Book cases, on that hand, it sucks because it's rife with inaccuracies and sensationalism, and it's just my God, you're looking at this thing. Historically, J. Allen Hynek came on, I believe, in Project Sign, like in 48 or something. So it wasn't even Blue Book, and he didn't even come around until like around 66, I think it was, when he did the infamous explanation of the lights in Michigan, I believe it was, as a swamp gas.
Yep.
Yeah. And then he got descended on and ridiculed, and that's when he kind of about faced. But this idea of, the men in black like are hassling him, and the men in black are basically government agents or aliens, but what are they that tuned in that they're J. Allen Hynek's on the case, we better give him hell. He hasn't even done anything yet.
We got an academic in here. Better watch out. He's gonna check our grammar.
Yeah, it's just bizarre. The whole, like, him wandering into that weird little bunker and finding the Desmond-like bullshit from Lost, the thing counting down in code and everything, and it's like the truth is out there. Oh, for fuck's sake. Really?
I'm always lenient on pilots because mostly pilots suck. Even for good series, they suck. They're horrible. They have to fit in too much to present to the networks. I hate the whole concept of pilots. So the scene at the end, really, I was okay with it until then. It's a little weird. So I'm going to give it a chance though, because I like the subject matter, but you're right. They got to get it right. They're hodgepodging it into everything, and I don't know. They don't need to do that. They really don't. There's so much out there that they can go over in detail. That's creepy enough. If you just go look at the original Gorman Dogfight, it's pretty interesting stuff. So,
yeah, but it's so sensationalized. And I mean, the guy never took Hynek up in the plane and terrified him and crashed into a fucking weather balloon. And what the hell kind of weather balloon was that glowed like that?
Yeah.
I mean, that thing, it's like, what the hell? That really does look like a UFO. That's nuts.
And this was the thing when I watched. You don't watch it, by the way. There's a show called Manifest by Zemeckis, and I love Zemeckis. I love Robert Zemeckis.
Oh, yeah.
I love the movie Contact. It's one of my favorite movies. So he's always had a respect for the content. He's always had a respect for UFOs. One of the things this might make some people mad that ID4, Independence Day. A lot of people like the movie. But I forgot the guy, Toby Emmerich, who directed it.
Emmerich and Devlin.
Well, I know way too much about Emmerich. But Emmerich's not a believer in UFOs. Came out and said, I don't believe in UFOs. And I'm, well, why are you doing a movie like this? I just why would you do a movie? Because it shows. I think, Spielberg, believes. At least he can make us think he believes, at least at the time before he met Kate Capshaw. But
well, yeah. And there's that story about Reagan, right? There's only a few people in the world that know just how true this movie is. He says to Spielberg as he's in the screening room with him at the White House.
How come I have not heard that? Maybe I heard it.
You haven't heard that?
No, I haven't.
No, it's true. He says, I mean, that's an
awesome.
apocryphal story, but I mean, I've heard it from many, he basically he had Spielberg to the White House and he leaned over to him and there's only a few people in the world that know just how true this is.
That's brilliant. Reagan and Carter were the two presidents we got really wanted to tell people and just couldn't. They couldn't. Yeah. So.
I don't mean to monopolize, but Susan, I beg your pardon. I don't mean to, but I have one other thing. You've heard about Nixon, right?
Which thing?
Nixon and Jackie Gleason.
Yes, that I've heard. That I've heard. So Nixon, the story goes to correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm going this is years ago. I heard this. Basically, Nixon liked to impress people. That was he was really insecure president. And he showed Jesse, didn't he take him to a base or showed him stuff?
What they were doing is they were out golfing.
Yeah.
And, they golfed together and, Nixon was kind of troubled and Jackie, well, what's up? And he's like, you really want to know, you really want to see this? Yeah, I do. Because Jackie Gleason had a lifelong interest in UFOs. In fact, he built that house that we see in that 60 Minutes interview. It's a round saucer-shaped house, had a round bar and everything. He was a true devotee. So Nixon said, all right, God damn it, I'm going to go show you. And he got in the limo. He said, take us to, the air base. And they drove and, they stop him at the gate, but it's the president. So they let him through. And Jackie Gleason saw bodies and he saw wreckage, and his wife, I believe, told the story where he comes home just fucking shaken to the core. I mean, pale, and he was never quite the same after seeing that.
No. Yeah, sometimes, you can't handle the truth. I think there's sometimes I lean, not all the time, to the side of the government on this, to where maybe we shouldn't know, because nobody knows how everybody would react. I wouldn't care. I would just go, yeah, so, and do my thing tomorrow. But some people would freak out. I think seriously freak out. They would have spiritual crisis and I don't know.
Well, it depends. I mean, if they're just simply advanced alien species that have been quietly surveilling the earth for, centuries, that's one thing. if they're like, demonic little baby eating fairies that like live under mushrooms and come out at night and abduct kids from national parks and take them up to do unholy, ungodly experiments on them in orbit, that's a different thing. So,
It is a
it
different
just
thing.
depends on the extent of, what their hobbies are.
It's all about the hobbies, those dark hobbies. That's going to be something I'm bringing to the Exozone this week too.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I don't know if you watch. Richard Dolan just did a live stream with a guy who was all about the ayahuasca stuff, but he was talking about abduction and how there's an alternative form of contact out there that's going on. Even Joe Rogan has talked about it because he loves talking about DMT and ayahuasca.
Oh yeah, the machine elves.
Yes. So that's going to be kind of the subject because this guy, man, he told some good stories. So
nice.
I got to get to a couple super chats. Please excuse me. JPRPH1. I really like this episode and think it has a lot of potential. I watched a little of Project UFO on YouTube. It was good. This could be really what's IMHO? I'm old man internet here. It could be really good.
My humble opinion.
Wow.
My humble opinion. Thank you. What was up with the amusement park, right? We needed some context for that. And the episode felt like it was an hour and 15 minutes long and they cut it down to 45 minutes or something. There's a lot of content you can tell was cut out. Even when they voice over edited, it was a little scene, but as an editor, I know this, it stands out as you needed to cut back on time. So after she saw her kid and said, after they left their kid alone, and then she went and looked at the napkin and saw the girl's phone number on there, they voiced over that scene of, dad'll be home soon, which they never, ever do unless they need to save time. So that was definitely a time cut right there. Mr. Roboto, question, why always swamp gas when rum works? $2. Good question. Good question. Thank you for the super chats, guys. That was $9.99 from JPRPH1. I don't know if I'm supposed to pronounce that or not. Have you told me?
I don't know, man.
I don't either. I just try to
guess.
guess.
Alien. It's code.
It's code, man.
Code. It's code.
Susan, pick out some chats.
Sure. Let's see here. Wow, that just flipped out. Okay. Sorry about this, guys. Why don't you vamp? I gotta go through here and.
Sure, I got one. So Doomcock, was that why we got rid of Nixon? Asked Jody.
No, we got rid of Nixon because he was an insane criminal.
Yeah.
It was, oh my God. And I've heard things subsequently, some documents and stuff has come to light that Nixon actually sabotaged our talks to get out of Vietnam before his election to guarantee that he would get elected. And so we spent many more years in Vietnam as a direct result of Nixon torpedoing those peace talks.
Oh, wow.
So untold numbers of murdered Americans on the head of that prick. So there you go.
Yep. There's a lot of pricks who are responsible for that. I got some, I got a couple of relatives over there that have never come back.
Wow.
That just okay. Sometimes you just can't read some of these chats. What's up? Nihilist Shadow. I like in the movie Paul, they say the generic gray alien look was leaked on purpose so people would get used to it, eventually not freak out when Paul's species eventually is revealed. That's actually been out for you're right, Nihilist Shadow. There is a theory out there that the CIA, the government, whoever's in charge, has leaked stuff and used Hollywood to try to desensitize the public to certain things. The gray alien has been seen and described by so many different people. There's the whole theory out there. It's just copycat. But before that, it wasn't. And when there wasn't an internet, people were describing pretty much the same thing. Now, the running theory, Doomcock and Susan, is that the gray alien is just a drone. It's basically a drone. It's made to travel in space because biological forms cannot travel in space. It's really hard for them to do so. So they are engineered by another race. and they are basically like, yeah, they're drones checking us out, probing us.
Well, but then you've got to look at the overall picture, Gary, and like I've thought about that, but then I think, well, does that mean then that the Nordic type of aliens and the reptilian type of aliens that are reported are all lies? That there's nothing to that whatsoever?
No, I don't think so at all. I think there's just different species out there, and
right. But then so they can travel then because they're
can. It depends on, it depends on travel. It depends on how you travel. Are you traveling in a ship, or are you traveling up here? That's something we're going to talk about Sunday. The Nordics appear, they've appeared a lot actually, and they're the ones from Vega, right?
Well, I don't know, but I think Villaboas like banged one. Remember that one that Antonio Villaboas, I believe his name was, and it was a gorgeous like Nordic woman that took him into her saucer, and walk it down, and then she pointed to her belly and pointed to the sky, and pulled a reverse Kirk on him. It's like when I'm sorry, Shauna, and then
I'm sorry,
he leaves her, and she leaves him.
Hasta la Vigo. Oh, their hobbies. Yes. So, sorry. I think that I can't remember now if the Nords are from Zeta Reticuli or from Vega.
No, the Greys are from Zeta Reticuli.
Yes. Thank you. But
and the reptilians are fourth dimensional, entities that morph. And we've got the what's his name, David Icke, talking about the transforming aliens, reptilians. Although there might be separate reptilians, and God knows I'm lousy with reptilians down here at the center of the earth. I mean, the
Nordics are from Pleiades.
Thank you. Thanks, Susan. Fact checking the aliens. I love that.
Outstanding.
Outstanding. Now there is the praying mantis species. That's the guy who I was listening to last night. Says that they control the Greys, and they are a very strange species that they're just really old, but they're not that far. They're advanced, but they're not as advanced as. And this is just what he says. I'm not saying this is a fact, by the way. Okay, this is just the story I was listening to with Richard Dolan. So they're a civilization that's millions of years old, but they just copy civilizations. They have no emotions or anything. They've just observed and copy, and then they purge their own race after thousands of years. Yeah. Oh, people, if you are not listening to the UFO stuff, it goes deep. It goes really deep. So they're the ones in control of a form of Greys, not all of them, because there are different forms of Greys. There's big ones, there's small ones.
Greys that climb on rocks. Tough Greys, sissy Greys, even Greys with chicken pox love.
Oh, that was good. Reptilians. Reptilians, yes.
Armor reptilians. The kids.
David Icke went a little off the rails for me. He got in the late 90s, early 2000s, before he got to his end game, before he got to the third act of his story, I was totally into it. He was like really good at the symbolism and you can't throw that away. Like cities are planned based on like all this symbolism, but you can actually move over to Randall Carlson now and take that and get to him with the sacred geometry thing, which is pretty deep stuff. Yeah, which is amazing. All right. Yeah, Anunnaki. Yes, the Anunnaki.
And sometime on Exozone, I guess when I do it, maybe I want to like talk about this more about the drones and stuff, but also at some point I'd like to talk about Ike, and also what if he was really, really spot on with all the symbolism stuff and all the links and research he was doing. And so he was subjected to a psyop where, they basically convinced him that there were reptilian aliens that maybe drugged him or, with special effects or some kind of shit, to then like lodge it in his head to discredit him by having him discredit himself.
Yeah, because he was really getting to people, and at first he was being accused of starting a cult, but he's never actually started one. He just goes and gives these talks, and he still gives these talks,
Yeah.
and he sells out like arenas, like huge arenas, and he talks for 8 hours at a time, and he does multiple talks. There are I remember when I used to have CDs of him, and they would be a stack this high from one talk. That guy can go forever. I mean, it
He
almost
knows a
rivals.
lot. He's the real deal.
He is. It almost rivals a Doomcock live stream.
It's amazing. Jesus,
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. I thought I was doing good, but 8 hours, Jesus. I've never done that. I've done over 6 though.
Yeah, you have. 8 hours is the limit, by the way. They cut you off after 8.
They say you're done.
You are done. Silhouetted animator. I've left my tinfoil hat in the other room. I actually have one ready. Silhouetted animator. Tinfoil hats aren't offense, are they? I proudly wear them to woo-woo talks. It's okay to wear the tinfoil hat. Mine's a tinfoil top hat, by the way. All Out of Bubblegum is here. $2. Thanks for the $5 silhouetted animator, by the way. It's woo-woo time. I love woo-woo time. That could have a double meaning. And I love them both. Silhouetted animator, $5 second super chat. Thanks for, in parentheses. I imagine the Anunnaki looking like the angel of death from Hellboy 2, but with bearded men heads. Okay. Hellboy 2.
Hellboy 2, Jesus.
That new Hellboy movie looks kind of bad.
Yeah, it does. The tone was all wrong.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, dude.
I'm bummed out about that.
The only thing I really liked was that image of the flaming crown and the horns. I mean, that was cool, but the rest of it was shit. So I don't know.
Yeah, because it honestly looks like it's a sequel to Hellboy 2. It was made at the same time. I watched the first trailer on my phone, so I'm like, oh, that looks pretty good. Then I watched it on my computer. I'm like, oh, that doesn't look good.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. They canceled Ash for that. I mean, what kind of world is it, Susan, where Ash gets canceled and this shit prevails?
Not the world that I want to live in, but here we are.
Not to dig up old wounds on that one, but I was thinking about it today. Like, how did Ash get canceled? How in the fuck did that show get canceled? It was so good. It was getting good ratings.
I don't know.
I was, because I bought Evil Dead 2 came out on 4K, everybody. It's awesome, by the way. It's so good. It's a pretty transfer. It's not perfect.
Do you want me to be brutally honest why I got canceled?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Because the fucking fans wouldn't watch. And they can preach and say they couldn't get it and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, okay, Stars didn't do the good distribution. But you know what? It is what it is. They got canceled because the fans were like, we'll watch it whenever. We'll watch it. It doesn't matter. You're not going to tell us when to watch it. You're not going to tell us that we have to watch it, right when it premieres. We'll watch it when we damn well please. Well, they kept on being told it's going to be canceled. And, oh, no, it's not. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. Well, guess what? Now it's canceled.
Yep. That's pretty much why The Expanse almost got canceled. Thank God it got a reprieve at the last minute. But basically that was it. It was like getting awareness. Look, it matters. Watch it within 3 days of it premiering, and try to watch it live if you can. So
I mean, it's antiquated, and I get that, and we should have a whole other, other system besides the Nielsen's, but it is what it is. Numbers, unfortunately, do not lie. And, it's interesting because everybody that didn't watch the show, they're like, oh, we want an Army of Darkness too. Well, I'm going to break a spoiler to everyone out there. That probably is never going to happen. Okay. So
no, they don't want to make genre TV. It's expensive. So there has to be a pretty damn good reason for it. And just to mention that, watch the Orville, Nihilist Shadow, the Orville. Watch the Orville because those ratings were not good. They weren't. And it sucks to say that.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm about ready to drop my reviews of the first 2 episodes, and I think that there's a reason that the ratings weren't good.
Yeah,
Right.
no, don't. They weren't fantastic episodes. It's still better than most of the stuff we've been covering, especially Doctor Who. But
Well, yeah, and it's really much better than STD, like infinitely better, like evolutionarily better. But Jesus Christ, dude! I mean, they really screwed the pooch on that season opener.
yeah,
That was insane.
at least doing 2 episodes like that in a row is
It's
I question that
nuts.
logic.
Nuts.
So hopefully the 3rd episode comes out of the gate rocking, and there's some krill, and I think they had to do that though, because the girl who shows up at that new girl is the one who played the krill in season 1. So I think there's something up with that, the female krill that they kept prisoner.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that new Janelle is her name. Janelle.
Yeah.
She played the krill. So she's definitely, there's something up with that. So maybe they had to do it. But the episode they showed last week was the one they cut out from last season.
Huh. Okay, that's interesting. Well, shit.
Why'd they cut it out from last season?
Probably because it was supposed to be kind of a sequel to About a Girl, which it was. I don't know. They were rolling last season. If they would have put out any episode, it probably would have done better. That was kind of a weird decision.
Yeah.
Let's take a few here. Let me make sure I didn't. All right. They really should have opened big, set up something for a long arc. Oh yeah. I think she's a krill spy. Yeah. And that's probably why they had to show that one first, because that's where she showed up. But they don't film these things in order. And sometimes they have to put them in later. And maybe they're like, damn it. Okay, we'll try to do this one Sunday and have a football lead in and cross our fingers. Still not a good move. Okay, we can take a couple more, and then I have to go. Susan has to go. But we can talk more about it tomorrow on the Nerdrotic Nooner at 9:30. We're going to do it at 9:30. I'm not going to get my video done today, so it's probably going to get done tomorrow or the next day. I've got many videos coming out. Angel just said, Doomcock, you are right.
Well,
we love hearing that stuff, especially,
yeah, I've got the review of the first one done. I wanted to get the review of the second one, but I think I just need to put it out. So
yeah,
I didn't want to go out on a bad note, because the second one was better, but yeah.
You just got to do them. Sometimes it's like,
I got so much piled up, dude. I got the Escape Artist review done, except for the editing. I've got the Orville thing done, except for the editing, and they just keep coming up with more news breaking, and it's just like, Jesus, I can't catch up.
No, it's like they held everything over the holidays, and then they dumped on us on the first. And I've got 4 videos that need to be edited. They're done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
2 Star Trek, 2 Doctor Who's.
Dude.
And people sometimes are just faster, and you're like, fine, you be faster.
That fucking Escape Artist. Oh,
damn, that was bad. I don't think I even reviewed it. I think I just turned on the camera and went, that sucked. That sucked so bad.
Yeah. I've actually, it was a 2-parter because I released that Rainn Wilson interview.
Yeah.
My commentary on that fucking thing. And then, I've got the actual episode, which was so painful to watch.
So painful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've got a lot to look forward to from Doomcock, guys. And we can continue the conversation tomorrow morning for the Nerdrotic Nooner. And then I'll have something for you in the afternoon. Susan, what are you up to this week?
You can catch me at 1428 Elm. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and all over the place, basically. And that's what I'm doing right now. So when I'm not here, I can be found there. And I'm on Twitter at Susan on the Ledge, and on Instagram at De Facto Scribe, and on Facebook.
Yes. And Maverick, that's a good question. Exozone. Yeah. Sunday, I believe, right? Sunday.
Yeah. Saturday, I have to actually go do something fun, but I'll tell you off the air.
Fun?
Yes, actually. Well, it's like the best excuse in the world. When I tell you, you will say, oh my God. Well,
that's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
it's scary that a supervillain, because what does a supervillain find fun other than destruction?
Wait till I tell you. Wait till I tell you.
That's
But
awesome.
if I may, I've got 2 live streams coming up after a long absence. I've got one tomorrow at 3:00 in the afternoon, Central Standard Time. And then for those who, are late night people or in a different time zone, I've got one on Thursday night at 9:00 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Nice. I will be in the chat on the Thursday
Awesome.
night one for sure. I'll probably be there tomorrow too. Well,
Dude, that's awesome.
yeah. Oh,
Maybe
that's
we'll have you
good.
pop on.
Hey, awesome. If it's okay, I know like you need to have time with your Legionnaires, but I will be available for
With
whatever.
everyone. Obviously,
Yeah.
we've got like a whole nomenclature now that we've hashed out. Like the regular general army of followers are my Dominions.
I like
And
that.
the guys on my Patreon are Xanadumirs, divided into Xanadudes and Xanadames. And yeah, so we get to kind of specialize,
Dr. Meatball says orgy at the center of the earth. Maybe
all the time. All the time. Well, you saw
Yeah.
my video.
Yeah.
I prefer those chickies. Stay
Those
angry,
chickies.
my friends.
Jody, Friday Night Tights. Yes, it will be on Friday this time. We had it on Saturday. We're going to have it on Friday at 7:00 normal time. Everything's back. Get EVS on the Exozone. He wants to talk JFK from the King of Scotland. Hail, King of Scotland. Glad to see that you're back in power. And death to England. And yeah. Oh, sorry. I got
your ghoulies.
And yeah, so Exozone Friday Night Tights, lots of stuff coming up, guys. And I think we're going to end it there so I can get back to working on those videos and not sleeping. So everybody say goodbye.
Hey,
Farewell.
see you, everybody. Bye.
Cheers,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Is Olivia Newton-John joining this one? No, but she's welcome to join, DJ Bowman.
Physical.
Ciao. We'll end.